Visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
What's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay.
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey.
The issues of collection, of tax, and the appropriate technologies that could bring down these costs, developing relevant skills and management.
Linking tax with development. Tax administrators meet in Abuja to chart new ways for improved tax administration in Africa.
We are very conscious of the fact that there's a need to bring interest rate down, but we think that we are not there yet.
Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee leaves rates unchanged.
What is good for Nigeria is good for Turkey. What is the interest of Nigeria? It's interest for Turkey.
Aftermath of illegal arms importation, Turkish ambassador meets customs leadership, pledges to fish out criminals behind illegal arms shipment. Legislators back to business as National Assembly resumes after 62 days of legislative break. Thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. Tonight, I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Demola is in Lagos, Fatai is in Ibadan, and Caleb is in Jos. The Monetary Policy Committee has retained the monetary policy rate, MPR, at 14% and all other monetary parameters at the current rates. Briefing the media at the end of the committee meeting in Abuja, Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, explained that it is most imperative to retain the rates at current levels to sustain the gains recorded so far in Nigeria's economic stability. Shikela Ikpinaye reports.
With due consideration to the downward risk in the country, including flooding in many states, trade groups, government face-off, and agitations across some geopolitical zones, global considerations, particularly U.S.-North Korea-strained relations, unending Brexit negotiations, and U.S. hurricane disasters, among others, formed the nexus of this month's MPC decision. For the MPC, further tightening the policy rates will rein in inflation, but with high interest rate effect and an opposite effect resulting from loosening the rates. But most importantly is the need to consolidate on the gains recorded over time from the tightening stance.
We are very conscious of the fact that there's a need to bring interest rate down, but we think that we are not there yet. Because if we reverse the trend, or if we do what most people expect, the truth is that it may, I don't want to say would, it may reverse the gains that we have so far achieved in exchange rate stability and even in the moderation of inflation.
The committee is satisfied with the slow and steady progress of the economy, especially the effect of fiscal policy actions, which is evident in the country's exiting from recession, but calls for caution to sustain the growth. In Abuja, Shikela Ikpinaye, NTA News.
Joining us in the studio now is Dr. Uche Uwaleke, Associate Professor of Finance, Nasarawa State University. Welcome to NTA Network News Studio.
Thank you.
The current monetary policy parameters remains at 14%. Is this good for the economy, even though it's believed that it can increase production?
Yeah, thanks very much. You see, the monetary policy has been tight since July last year, with the MPR at 14%. And the choice before the Monetary Policy Committee at today's meeting was actually to either tighten it further or to hold it, leave it unchanged, or to ease monetary policy. Tightening it would, portray the central bank as being insensitive to growth, because it will dampen demand and then result to weak aggregate demand. So that option was quickly, thrown out. Okay, and the option to ease appeared strong and persuasive in the sense that if you lower the rates, for example, if you ease monetary policy, you increase access to funds, by the real sector. That's where you reduce the cost of, capital. If you also ease, okay, you also ensure that the cost of servicing government debt, is further reduced. So you have these advantages, So
you believe this retention will boost the economy?
No, the point I'm making is that we should also understand the challenge that the central bank has. There is what is called the monetary trilemma. No central bank in the world, can pursue the exchange rate stability, lower inflation, lower interest rate all at the same time. So the central bank, has this challenge, and that's why the central bank is also looking at the gains already made, yes, both in the foreign exchange market, because easing would would tend to worsen the gains already in the foreign exchange market. And
what do you think now? What do you think now the Monetary Policy Committee and the Fiscal Policy Committee should do to further strengthen the economy?
Yes, of course, it's not just for the monetary policy alone, and that's why the central bank and the MPC even called on the fiscal policy to complement their efforts by ensuring, for example, that the 2017 budget is implemented in line with the economic recovery and growth plan. Okay, by also ensuring that the executive order signed by the vice president, acting president at the time, is fully implemented, because that executive order, was with respect to easing doing business in the country. So the fact that you have inflation at 16.01%, for example, and you have interest rates lower than inflation, gives you a negative real interest rate. And if you further reduce the interest rate, you pull interest rate in the negative territory the more. So what I'm saying in effect is, yes, these arguments are there. You have the argument for easing, but the CBN is hamstrung, and that's why it's, in my view, it took the decision to leave the rates unchanged.
And you think the decision is right?
Given the prevailing circumstances.
Dr. Uche Uwaleke, Associate Professor of Finance, National State University, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
Still on the economy, as Nigeria hosts tax authorities for the first time in history, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on African tax administrators and policymakers to provide solutions to the myriad of constraints on tax matters towards generating more resources for development. The Vice President stated this when he declared open the Conference on Tax Administration in Africa. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
From the north to the south, east to west, tax authorities in Africa are faced with similar and peculiar problems, as highlighted by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
The issues of collection of tax and the appropriate technologies that could bring down these costs, developing relevant skills and management needed to effectively create and run efficient and transparent tax administrations, issues around institutional structure, the wisdom of ensuring autonomy of institutions of tax administration have stretched the creativity and resourcefulness of tax administrators across the continent.
The tax problems of African states have remained much the same in complexity and character, says the Vice President, despite sticking to the motives and ideals of the forum over the years to solve these problems.
The easy argument is to suggest that we should wait until economic growth and development brings these informal systems into the formal system. But this is unhelpful. It has kept us on the same spot for decades. It seems to me that we must find a way of fixing this car while the engine is running.
There is a link between tax and development, as explained by Nigerian's Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, which lays more emphasis on the call on the forum to find lasting solution to some of these constraints.
We in Nigeria are committed to improving our tax compliance rate. At 6%, we have one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios in the world, and we are determined to take that on as a project and correct it very, very quickly.
The Sustainable Development Goals on its own will cost the world $120 billion. This in a world where official development assistance is declining. The challenge is on us to close the financing gap.
Nigeria as a country is not shy in taking the lead to ensure that we and the rest of us in Africa perform our duties and align with the AU mandates.
The theme of this conference is building strong domestic tax regime in Africa. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council is set to launch a new 60-day action plan starting from the 2nd of October to the 13th of November 2017. The Council, in its interim report on the first plan, commended the National Assembly for its contributions and support. Here again, Jide Onifade with the details.
The meeting, chaired by the Vice President, was for stock-taking of achievements by the Council so far, with a plan on the way forward.
The idea being that we want to have a second round of the National Action Plan, which is even more ambitious than the first round. We really want to make it easy for people to do business in Nigeria.
As stated by the Secretary of the Council, Jumoke Oduwole, winning would depend largely on the collaboration of all stakeholders.
These are all the ingredients, plus a strong representation from the private sector that makes sure that the collaborative exercise works very powerfully to deliver impactful reforms for the Nigerian people.
This meeting was very, very productive. A lot of work has been done and it's beginning to show. And there is no doubt that there has a lot of commitment on the side of the government. And we're very optimistic about how this will translate to a better business environment.
National Assembly got green for compliance with all the commitments that we have made as our contribution to the ease of doing business.
The Council had an expanded meeting in which the Chief Justice of the Federation, representatives of the Senate President, Kano and Lagos governments, and all key ministers and heads of agencies were present. The private sector was also well represented. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Following concerns on the recent discovery and seizures of pump-action rifles imported from Turkey by the Nigeria Customs Service, the Turkish ambassador to Nigeria has met with the Comptroller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ali, to come up with strategies aimed at stopping the illegal importation. Justin Ben Onyi has details.
This meeting became expedient after 4 different arms seizures, with a total number of 2,671 pump-action rifles from one source, Turkey, into Nigeria. At the meeting, which lasted 2 hours, both sides agreed that a team from Nigeria Customs Service visits Turkish customs to further discuss ways of preventing such arms export, as Turkey reaffirmed that it will not in any way support any dangerous shipment to Nigeria and fish out those behind the illegal arms shipment.
What is good for Nigeria is good for Turkey. What is the interest of Nigeria? It's interest for Turkey. If there are some arms illegally smuggled from Turkey to Nigeria, together with the Nigerian authorities, we explore the matter and we solve the issue. But I would like to make sure the Nigerian public, esteemed Nigerian public, the fellow Nigerians, we never do deliberately anything against the interest of Nigeria.
Nigeria Customs Service is to provide the Turkish authority a list of prohibited items and, in the case of arms, sample of end-user certificate to help them verify always before approving any legal arms export to Nigeria. In Abuja, Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
In its quest to boost maritime activities for economic purposes, the Nigerian Navy is championing a framework for information sharing and mutual assistance with its South African counterpart. Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Ibok Ite Ibas hosted the Chief of South African Navy, Vice Admiral Musiwa Shilongwane, who is on a working visit to Nigeria. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
The navies of Nigeria and South Africa have a long-existing relationship which dates back to the early 90s. During the period, they initiated a strategic forum where navies of African nations were mobilized in tackling maritime challenges through a sea power symposium. Though they have been meeting at different fora, this visit by the Chief of South African Navy, Vice Admiral Musiwa Shilongwane, is to enable the two nations fashion out new strategic initiatives that would further enhance the security of their territorial waters for socio-economic development.
Maritime crimes are known to be transnational in nature. We are going to further explore areas that our two navies will develop capacities to be able to confront the myriads of challenges that face our navies.
The South African Navy chief had visited some facilities of the Nigerian Navy in Lagos before arriving Abuja. Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
5 Nigerians have been shortlisted for the prestigious International Telecommunications Union ITU Award in Busan, South Korea. Oinaya Kalu Oka reports that they were selected based on their creative innovations in ICT.
Of the 6 Nigerians screened, 5 were shortlisted alongside contestants from other countries. Ideas presented are applications that will touch the lives of Nigerians. Technologies from talking books, online purchasing, local language understanding and maternal health issues were presented.
And this is a great opportunity, not just to showcase the innovation that's going on around the world and particularly in Africa, but also to bring to light some of the issues that are being faced in the emerging and developing markets.
We've produced so much foreign content and it's currently affecting our kids out there.
The audience we are targeting are not actually the Western and developed economy. We are targeting the emerging economy.
Members of the jury comprise social entrepreneurship, tech experts and visionaries.
Some of the presentations that we've listened to from the Nigerian tech entrepreneurs have been very impressive. They're solving what I would call some of the grand challenges that we have in the country today.
The innovators were sponsored by the Nigerian Communications Commission as part of its efforts to support tech SMEs in Nigeria.
ICT applications will have one of the most vibrant, youth pertaining in, innovative applications. And an example is what is happening here. The SMEs you see here are a testimony to how our youth can be innovative.
Successful winner will be presented an award and will also attract investment from the global community. From Busan in South Korea, Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android devices at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Ahead on the news, sustaining economic growth in post-recession Nigeria on the front burner as the Senate resumes plenary. These and more after these messages.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Come, sisters, I got some special discount on data.
No, my name is sister. I go give you cheaper data. Aha, sister.
Now we get your bonga data for here.
Hold on. Obago, everybody will enter. There's no need to rush.
Now, so there's more than enough data for everyone, eh? Pepper them gang.
Now, so you have every night, Pepper than the other for the data.
Excuse me, ladies first.
It's free data time for all Glow subscribers. Get 200 MB free data with free data day. Simply use 100 MB data plus 150 naira on voice calls or 250 naira on voice calls the preceding week to qualify. The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data. Thursday, September 28th is free data day nationwide. With Glow Overload, get 200 MB free data and make something happen.
Nigeria is a strong emerging world economy with a population of over 170 million people. With the diligent work of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's economic diversification agenda, SON has put in place accredited laboratories to ensure that made in Nigeria products meet international standards and ready for export. SON regularly conducts products registration, certifications, factory inspections, monitoring, a metrology laboratory to get accurate measurements, while SONCAP checks the conformity of imported products and the SON Legal Act to prosecute offenders. Don't sell and don't buy substandard products. Before you buy, look well. See something, say something, or call these numbers. SON, improving life through standards.
House of Representatives Committee on Pensions calls for a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to exclude and exempt members of the Nigerian Police Force, Civil Defense, Customs, Prisons, Immigration, EFCC, ICPC, Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and other related agencies from the application of the Contributory Pension Scheme, and also the bill for an act to amend the provisions of the Pension Reform Act 14 to reposition the Contributory Pension Scheme for effective service delivery. The House of Representatives consequently mandated its Committee on Pensions to carry out further legislative actions on them. Date, Thursday, 28 September 2017. Venue, House of Representatives New Auditorium, Room 034, National Assembly, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The following stakeholders are to submit memoranda in 30 copies and should be submitted to the Committee Secretariat at House Committee, Room 310, National Assembly, Abuja, on or before 26 September 2017. Honorable Hassan Adamu Shakarau, Chairman, Announcer.
From generation to generation, Peak has always been there, giving me good nutrition and satisfaction.
And to inform for Nigerians,
Thanks, Peak. I know you'll always be there for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the daring and invincible Louis the Mosquito. Responsible for 200 malaria cases all on its own. Is there anything that can kill Louis? Morphine! Presenting Morty's Power Guard. Its powerful formula kills malaria mosquitoes fast. So, get Morty's Power Guard.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant to achieve our creed as we promise. We shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Thank you for remaining with NTA Network News. Stabilizing and sustaining post-recession growth of Nigeria's economy featured prominently at the Senate plenary upon resumption this Tuesday. Also debated are measures towards expediting releases of allocations in the 2017 budget for the stimulation of the economy. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye reports.
With the country now out of recession, the need to sustain this and translate it into tangible results for Nigerians formed key part of discussions. Senator representing Kebbi North Senatorial District Yahaya Abdullahi moved the motion on sustaining the growth of post-recession economy.
We should not take anything for granted and should do everything possible to avoid relapsing into another recession.
The important thing to do, of course, is to make sure that the economy is active. I support this motion because it has taken a great look at what it will be if the managers of our economy fail to look at this year's budget and fund it appropriately.
Senator representing Lagos East, Gbenga Ashafa, moved the motion to expedite 2017 budget releases to stimulate the economy.
In some areas, they say 350 billion naira has been released by the federal government to ministries, departments, and agencies as funding for capital projects, which is far too low to stimulate the economy.
The perennial issue of flooding and the urgent need for a concrete plan of action to stop its recurrence was also adopted. President Muhammadu Buhari's resumption letter to the Senate, dated 21st August 2017, was acknowledged, and the lawmakers lauded his dogged fight against ill health, wishing him continued strength to lead the country to greater heights.
The unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable, and we are all fully committed to the territorial integrity of our country. The Senate hereby advised that all groups seeking to pursue any agitation should do so through constitutional means.
Plenary resumes Wednesday, 27th September 2017 from the National Assembly. Dennis Adeguloye, NTA News.
The House of Representatives says it remains committed to ensuring that Nigeria remains one united country. This reaffirmation of the legislators' unflinching resolve towards ensuring indivisibility of Nigeria as a corporate entity attracted a cross-section of members' comments upon resumption at plenary. They also acknowledged receipt of President Muhammadu Buhari's letter indicating his resumption from medical trip to the United Kingdom. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports.
Against the backdrop of the democratic principle of representation, which brought membership of the House together as the voice of the nation, Speaker Dogara enjoined members to be committed to their constitutional duties on the platform of one nation, one destiny.
When speech or noise leads to debate, it is called free speech. But when speech or noise incites to violence, then it is called hate speech. Hate speech has no place in a democracy and must never be tolerated or allowed.
Speaker Dogara also used the opportunity to assure Nigerians that the Non-Governmental Organization Regulation Bill is not targeted at any group, but to inject transparency and accountability in the operations of NGOs in Nigeria.
Churches, mosques, Isuzu, market women associations, etc., as well as local quasi-financial institutions are not NGOs, and thus the bill has nothing to do with their operation.
Similarly, the legislators set up an ad hoc committee that will address political agitations in the country. This followed a motion moved by the majority leader of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila,
to rebuilding the unity of Nigeria. That the House revisit, as you stated in your address, the issue of devolution of powers in the interest of the unity of Nigeria.
The issue of flood disaster came on the floor as members implored government to commence the dredging of River Benue to avoid future occurrence, as moved by Representative Emmanuel Oke-Jeff.
Also urge the federal government to adequately fund or equip NEMA, the fire service, and other security agencies to cope with such disasters, as they never deploy equipment to evacuate affected citizens. 3 bills were passed at third reading, which include the National Road Fund Bill. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In an effort to industrialize and diversify Nigeria's economy, Cross River State government says it will explore the cocoa value chain for national development. Governor Ben Ayade, who announced this during an inspection tour of the ultra-modern cocoa processing plant in Ikom local government area, assured citizens that his administration will ensure a shift from continuous dependence on oil to agriculture. Udwak Etim has details.
Governor Ayade said the cocoa processing plant, expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2018, will facilitate the processing of cocoa seedlings into raw materials for advanced cocoa production. He maintained that the project, when completed, will boost the state's agricultural potentials and promote the massive industrialization drive of his administration, as well as explore the entire cocoa value chain in order to shift from continuous dependence on oil.
Our design and install capacity today will be at about 30,000 metric tons per annum, but we hope to scale it up as we ramp into phase 2 and phase 3, ultimately to do about 350,000 tons per annum. The idea is that Cross River State must take a very firm and clear position as the leading light for cocoa production and cocoa value chain in Nigeria.
Even with years of neglect, but cocoa is still the highest foreign exchange earner after oil. So you think of the multiplier effect.
It's a laudable project and is in line with the President's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, and I believe it's coming at the right time.
Residents and farmers in the area described the project as a welcome development.
When we bring our cocoa to the factory, it's being processed here, and the sales will be very encouraging.
Very grateful to the governor for bringing this kind of project to our state. And we think it's going to be a very good thing for all of us to benefit.
From Ikom local government area of Cross River State, Udwak Etim, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with former lawmaker, politician and pharmacist Pa Ayorinde Fashemi as he turns 92 years on the 27th of September 2017. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari commends Pa Fashemi's patriotism and loyalty to the country, especially his advocacy for peace, unity and progress of Nigeria. President Buhari also hails Pa Fashemi's for regularly advising leaders on making the right choices for the sake of prosperity, saying his interventions is purely in service to the nation. Joining Pa Fashemi's family and friends to celebrate the milestones and achievements of the non-Nigerian, President Buhari praised God to continually strengthen and grant him continuous good health. Time now to join Ademola in Lagos for more reports on NTA Network News. Over to you, Demola.
Kudu, good evening and a warm welcome. Nigeria and South Africa are to strengthen their entrepreneurial relationship to ensure both countries remain market-based economy for the world. Wife of Nigeria's Chief of Naval Staff, Theresa Ibas, reaffirmed this when she hosted the wife of the South African Chief of Naval Staff in Lagos. Elizabeth Ewuga reports.
This is not the first time that the wife of the Chief of Naval Staff, Theresa Ibas, will be meeting her South African counterpart. They had met this year in South Africa to deliberate on positive projects of mutual interest. Their vision is not just to strengthen the agricultural sector of both countries to generate broad-based growth to achieve food security, but also to empower the youth of both countries. Accompanied by some members of the Naval Officers' Wives Association, NOAA, on an inspection tour of some NOAA facilities, Theresa Ibas, who is also the president of the association, said the only way to drastically reduce hunger and unemployment in any country is to harness the youth through appropriate skill acquisition.
I don't want anybody to have an excuse of not doing anything. No, the skill acquisition will be for everybody. So that will be my follow-up, to see that a lot of people have things to fall back to sustain their home.
The wife of South African Chief of Naval Staff commended the initiative of NOAA and advised Nigerian youth to take advantage of the platform to become self-reliant and socially responsible.
To teach, to make a difference in the lives of the young people, the youth that are living in Nigeria.
They later interacted with the children at various levels in NOAA nursery, primary and secondary schools. In Lagos, Elizabeth Ewuga, NTA News.
The growth of Nigeria's local content can only be sustained if a robust research and development mechanism is adopted. Executive Secretary, Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board, Simbi Wambote, said this at the maiden edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Research and Development Fair and Conference in Lagos. Abolade Salami has the details.
Development of the oil and gas industry through research and development is the catalyst which provides technologies that enhances development innovations and creative solutions towards national economic development. In pursuant of this development, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, through our conference, has provided a platform where researchers and innovators in the oil and gas value chain can improve their skills through research and development. Executive Secretary of the board, Simbi Wambote, said the board, through its capacity building, has grown fabrication capacity to over 60,000 metric tons per year. He added that the fair will help promote the activities and effort of indigenous researchers, as well as help stimulate utilization of Nigerian facilities and intellectual resources.
This is to galvanize the industry to take on the challenge of research and development, because it's the bedrock of our industry. So we all have to get together and begin to research and look for alternative ways with which we'll extract the oil and gas from our dear country, Nigeria.
Senate President Bukola Saraki, represented by the Senate Committee Chairman Upstream, Senator Tayo Alasha-Adura, said the 8th National Assembly is working assiduously to ensure the passage of local content development bills.
A bill already in the Senate trying to say that R&D should be aggregated. Instead of every MDA putting money into R&D, and at the end of the year you don't see what they are doing, let at least a sizable percentage of it be pooled so that there will be one body that will go after research and development in this country so that we can improve on it.
High point of the conference was the display of various research works at the exhibition stand. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
You are still on to NTA Network News. We now take another break for some messages, after which the news continues shortly. Stay with us.
Okay.
No, my name is sister. I will give you cheaper data. Aha, sister. Now we get your bonga data for here.
Hold on. Obago, everybody will enter. There's no need to rush.
Now, so there's more than enough data for everyone, eh? Pepper them gang.
Now, so you have every night, pepper them for the data.
Excuse me, ladies first.
It's free data time for all Glow subscribers. Get 200 MB free data with free data day. Simply use 100 MB data plus 150 naira on voice calls or 250 naira on voice calls the preceding week to qualify. The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data. Thursday, September 28th is free data day nationwide. With Glow Overload, get 200 MB free data and make something happen.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain, fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
As a lover of good food, I enjoy trying different recipes. And with the right ingredients, I always achieve my desired results. I recently discovered the new Dangote pasta, and since then, I've been hooked. With Dangote pasta, I can go all out with different pasta recipes. You see, Dangote pasta is now made with durum wheat, making it non-sticky and very nutritious. I feel like the greatest chef with Dangote pasta. My meals are always tasty and irresistible.
Like it! Mixed up, I like it too.
See?
Enjoy the new Dangote pasta, now made with durum. Available in spaghetti and macaroni. Dangote pasta, excelente. Pasta just got better.
The Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, FNSE, cordially invites Honorable Ministers, members of the National Assembly, all Honorable Commissioners of Water Resources, members of State Houses of Assembly, all GMs of state water agencies with their directors of planning, donor agencies and development partners to a national retreat on revitalizing the urban water supply and sanitation in Nigeria. The retreat is scheduled to hold as follows. Date, Thursday 28 to Friday 29 September 2017. Venue, Ladikwali Hall, Sheraton Hotel and Towers, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Announcer, Musa Ibrahim, Permanent Secretary.
Thank you for remaining there. Nigerian Stock Exchange declares total assets of 22.79 billion naira. An oil price jump on the heels of the OPEC's efforts at sustaining production cut. Details with Musa Abubakar on Business News.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The federal government diversification policy has attracted 66.63 billion naira investment to the agricultural sector of the economy in less than 3 years. This covers direct investment, disbursement of loan facility to farmers as well as processors.
We have been able to pay up to 940 million naira directly at interest drawback, and that interest drawback is a key support component.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $195 million into the forex market in the wholesale secondary market intervention sales of the interbank foreign exchange market. It auctioned $100 million and also intervened in small and medium enterprises and invisible segments with the sum of $50 million and $45 million respectively. The sale follows the major intervention last week to the tune of $545 million. The retail secondary market intervention sales received the largest intervention of $285 million. Other segments include $100 million offered for wholesale. The Nigerian Stock Exchange posted total assets of 22.79 billion naira held in liquidity assets with accumulated funds of 19.31 billion naira. The exchange closed the year 2016 on a sound liquidity position. We now take a look at closing figures for Tuesday. U.S. oil prices returned to bull market territory while the global benchmark hit a 2-year high as investors gain faith that OPEC will successfully shrink a global supply glut. That's it for now on Business News. The bulletin continues shortly.
National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, John Odige Oyegun, says devolution of powers and resources in the Federation are critical issues canvassed by the various political parties that merged to form the APC in 2013. He stated this when he received a delegation of the Nigerian Christian Elders Forum, led by the chairman, Mr. Solomon Asemota, senior advocate of Nigeria, at the APC's National Secretariat in Abuja.
there. As a matter of fact, it was a basic issue at the coming together of the APC that we must take a fresh look at the distribution of powers and the workings of our federal system. At the end of the day, what will happen is what will make our federation stronger.
So we are asking for opportunity to come and display our understanding at a commission where we will be able to look back at our country, the way we saw it.
National President of the Christian Elders Forum there, Chief Asemota. National President of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo leads peace delegation to Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State. These are more with Caleb in Jos. Caleb, over to you.
Thank you, Mohammed, and welcome to Jos. A delegation of Igbo leaders led by the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Dr. John Nwodo, has visited the Plateau State Governor to reaffirm their commitment to the unity of the nation. Paul Dama reports that the visit is coming on the wake of heightened tensions, which almost disrupted peace and stability of the state recently.
Receiving the delegation at the Government House, Rayfield, Governor Simon Lalong says what brought about peace in the state is that his administration carried everyone along. Governor Lalong says their visit to some southeast states was in response to the growing tension across the country, and what he saw during the visit is contrary to rumors being circulated.
Some of them were already on the white list of the police for criminal activities. I think one was caught by STF. I think he's giving unuseful information.
President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, John Nwodo, says recent events are a reminder of what led to the civil war, and it is only wise for those who witnessed it to speak out to avoid its devastating effects.
Sultan Saad, Sultan of Sokoto, said in the currency of this impasse that any northerner who desires to kill an Igbo man should first kill himself. But I say that any Igbo man who desires to kill any northerner in any part of southeast Nigeria should first kill John.
He gave the assurances of the southeast governors and Igbo people that the safety of all northerners is guaranteed. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
To reposition the National Youth Service Corps scheme to further promote national integration, a management conference of the scheme is underway in Jos. Felicia Dalio reports that Governor Simon Lalong, in a message to the opening of the conference, emphasized the need for strategic planning and restructuring of the policies and operations of the scheme.
Simon Lalong of Plateau State, represented by the Deputy Governor, Professor Sonny Theodem, said the NYSC has demonstrated its ability to remain relevant in the life cycle of the nation through its activities. He urged them to improve on the giant strides so far achieved.
At this moment time in our country, when there is the cloud of obstruction and other political and constitutional reforms, it is pertinent to enhance the operations of the scheme, which is where those enhancing national integration and unity.
Minister of Youth and Sports Solomon Dalung, represented by the Permanent Secretary Adeshola Olushola, while appreciating the NYSC renewed federal government's commitment to the scheme. Director General of the NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazaure, said the scheme is determined to consolidate on its successes.
The NYSC has made significant contributions to the national government in the areas of education, healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, and other sectors of the economy.
The conference has its theme, enhancing the operations of the NYSC through strategic planning. In Jos, Felicia Dalu, NTA News.
Mohammed, Jos is done, so it's back to you.
Thank you, Caleb. 34 kidnap and armed robbery suspects alleged to be responsible for the incidents of crimes along the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, the Lokoja and Niger and environs have been paraded by the Nigeria Police Force. Victor Azu reports that the suspects were paraded in Dikku near Suleja in Niger State.
For some time now, travelers who ply the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway and residents of Lokoja, Mina, parts of Niger State and environs have lived in fear as a result of the activities of these men, allegedly so. Theirs has been a reign of terror, leaving a trail of agony in the lives of those who encounter them and their loved ones.
In this operation that's still ongoing, 7 different armed robbery kidnappers and notorious kidnap for ransom gang, including those dealing in legal possession of firearms, were dislodged and busted in their hideout and camps between Diko Mina and Diko Abuja axis. A total number of 34 suspects were arrested.
Of the 34 on parade, this gang of 8 specializes in donning military uniforms to deceive the public and kidnap or dispossess them of valuables. They are also alleged to derive pleasure in killing men in uniform. 10 victims were rescued from one of the gangs, and vehicles, arms and ammunition, television sets, phones and computers, among others, recovered. The recent success in arresting the criminals along this axis is expected to reduce incidents of robbery and kidnapping. From Diko in Niger State, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police Force High Command investigates attack on the Olubadan's palace by unknown gunmen. Fatai in Ibadan brings us details of these and more. Over to you, Fatai.
Thank you, Kudos. Welcome to Ibadan. The Nigeria Police has stepped up investigation into the attack on the palace of Olubadan of Ibadan land by unknown gunmen. Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 11, Agbola Oshodi Glover, while visiting the traditional ruler, says the police will uncover the identities of those behind the attack. Abdul Rauf Kamadin reports.
The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Obasaliu Akamu Adetunde, had invited guests, including former Oyo State Governor, Senator Rashidi Ladoja, and others to witness the installation of the new balance, which took place in the palace. NT News learned that the hoodlums allegedly entered the palace and started shooting into the air. Those in attendance, including journalists, ran for safety and subsequently got injured.
So I don't understand why people should take the laws into their hands by sending hoodlums to this place.
Reacting, the state government condemned the attack and promised to bring the masterminds to book.
No matter how highly placed such individuals are, the force of the law will be brought to bear on them.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 11, Agbola Oshodi, was also at the palace where he promised to fish out the perpetrators for prosecution.
And we are also calling on the citizens, those who saw what happened and those who have information, to let the police have.
The monarch appealed to Oyo State government to beef up security within and outside the palace to resist reoccurrence. In Ibadan, Abdul Kamaldeen, NT News.
Meanwhile, the Ibadan-Ife highway linking the southwest with other geopolitical zones in the country is now causing nightmare to users. Kemi Akinwande says the infrastructure is deteriorating fast.
One of the major interstate roads linking Oyo State with other parts of the country is the new Ife-Ibadan dual carriageway. The poor state of the road is becoming worrisome to road users as it continues to deteriorate fast. Starting from Bagi Alakia Adegbayi Oluwo Egbeda toll gate down to Iyana-Ajia, the road, which is characterized by numerous potholes, among other bad portions, is also lacking in drainage. Road users complained of loss of quality time while managing to maneuver through the bad portions.
It is causing a lot of traffic. Apart from traffic, even spoiling a car, especially when it comes to rainy season, we find it difficult to any cars to move here.
See gallop and so they get a sloping. And some driver, they will not know. But those private car, they just enter, carry them inside bush.
From this Alakia now, the road is so bad to the extent that there is no any alternative road there.
As at the time of this report, efforts to get officials of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency were unsuccessful. Motorists, however, called on federal government to find a permanent solution to the issue to prevent avoidable loss of lives and property. In Ibadan, Kemi Akinwande, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. We now return to Abuja for more stories on Network News.
Thank you for time. Still to come, sports, weather prospects for Wednesday. Stay with the NTA.
Managing natural disasters and arising challenges in Nigeria. That is the focus on Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live promises to be incisive, informative and educative. Join us.
Dettol team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? No. They are spread through germs on your hands. Your hands collect germs that causes diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is wash, wash, wash your hands. With Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Irish President Michael Higgins has pledged to support all initiatives that will enhance the existing cordial relationship between Nigeria and Ireland. He stated this while receiving the letter of credence from the new ambassador of Nigeria to the Republic of Ireland, Dr. Uzoma Elizabeth Emenike. The Irish leader commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his dogged fight against corruption and his resilience to end insurgency in the northeastern part of Nigeria. The new envoy commended President Higgins for sharing a common leadership style with President Muhammadu Buhari, particularly in the areas of moral integrity and passion to develop their countries. Dr. Uzoma told the Irish leader that Nigeria, being the largest economy in Africa, has mechanisms put in place to enhance the ease of doing business, and noted that both countries will benefit from a state visit to Nigeria by the Irish president and a reciprocal one by Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari. In sports, Ghana Raw names 23 players for the Super Eagles clash with Zambia in Uyo, and players set to compete in the 2017 Godswill Akpabio International Scrabble Classics. Kene Mabu Dike is our guide on Sport Update.
Super Eagles technical advisor